Hello.
My name is Shakur Leafield. Can I please have you to state and spell your name out for us?
My name is BonnieHickerson, BonnieHickerson.
So, we was told that you don't live in the Woodlawn community, but we would like to know the knowledge you have about the Woodlawn community.
No, I do not live in Woodlawn, but in 1962, I was a teacher at Hyde Park High School. And after leaving Hyde Park High School, I stayed in Woodlawn because I went to Wadsworth Elementary. And then in the early 80s, I joined First Presbyterian Church. So that's basically my knowledge of Woodlawn, and I've been here ever since.
So what's your experience as being a teacher at the Hyde Park Academy?
It was a great experience. I was in the library, and I worked with a lot of very good people, and I thought the school was a very good school at the time, and I really enjoyed working there.
So have you seen any violence that have occurred in the area?
I have not directly seen any violence, but at the time I was at Wadsworth, there was a real gang problem, as you probably know about. But one thing I can say about the students, many of them were gang members, but for the most part, they respected the teachers. They were very respectful, and I thought that was very good.
So have you visited the Woodlawn community? Sorry. Have you visited the Woodlawn community ever since you teach here?
Oh yes, I still come here to church. I attend church's First Church. So yes.
So, I was wondering, since you have been coming to this church, have there been any violence you have seen as you came towards the church and going home?
No, I have not seen any violence either way.
So, we asked other interviewers, and some said that they feel like it's sometimes the youth problem and sometimes the adults. And we was wondering, who do you think is more responsible, for the violence in the Woodlawn community?
I think each group has a responsibility. The adults have the role of teaching children right from wrong, and observing and being responsible for what their children are doing, and knowing where their children are at all times. So I think the parent has a great role, one that's very important.
Is there anything from the past that you wish stayed the same?
Yes, as I said, with the respect of the students at that time, I don't think students are quite as respectful as a whole as they were at that time. So I would like to see that go back to that.
So, if you have not lived here in the Woodlawn community, do you know anybody that is from the Woodlawn community?
Yes, there are people that are a member of my church that are from the Woodlawn community. So I do know some people.
Have they ever came to you about some of the violence or the good things, positive things in the Woodlawn community?
No, not really.
So, is there anything positive have you seen in the Woodlawn community ever since you taught at the two schools?
Yes, as I said, some people went on, many of my students went on to be productive people, and they went on to college and have been very successful. So yes, there is some good, definitely.
So, how do you feel about the neighborhood so far? Present, today. How do you feel about it now?
I don't have a problem with it, but I think the same type of things that are happening in Woodlawn are happening in most of the communities. And I think as a whole, things need to improve, not just in Woodlawn.
So what do you feel like is the biggest issue?
I think the killing, the shooting, and the guns, and people just being very angry. I've noticed there are a lot of people that are very angry, and that really bothers me.
Do you have, or do you see any hope for Woodlawn or Chicago itself becoming a more peaceful place?
Well, I don't want to ever lose hope. So I still have hope that things will improve, but it's going to take a lot of hard work, a lot of cooperation, and a lot of interested people.
So do you think that if boys, young boys, teenage boys have like a mentor talk to them like every once a week, do you think that would help them get out of violence or get out of gangs more?
Absolutely, I think it would, and I'd like to see the reestablishment of some of the boys' clubs. When my son was growing up, he spent time at the boys' club in the summers, and I thought that was very good. I'd like to see more activities to involve people so that they can think positively and not negatively, and they can do positive things.
Would you ever consider living in the Woodlawn community?
Yes, I would consider living here, except that right now I would like to be in a more peaceful place, more peaceful. When I say that, Chicago, period. I think with so many things happening in Chicago now, and I'm getting older, I'd like to go where things are much quieter.
If you don't mind answering this question, we was wondering if you're married.
I'm a widower.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you have any kids?
I have one adult child.
So, do you feel like the neighborhood itself affected your child as they grew up?
No, I don't think the neighborhood, because we didn't live in the neighborhood, so I don't think so. No.
Have your child ever went to the schools in the Woodlawn community?
No, we did not.
Okay. What are your advice to students who are still living or attending the schools in the Woodlawn community?
Be very active, be in a lot of activities, and don't hang out with the wrong group.
I have another question. Like, would you ever consider, like, start a petition in the Woodlawn community about the violence and trying to have adults and students involved in it?
Well, I don't think I would start a petition itself, but I would be willing to sign one to support it.
So have you seen, like, any kids today, like in the present, have you seen anything that is similar or different from how kids used to act in the past?
Well, there's still a lot of very good children, very good students. I've worked also at Woodlawn Elementary School, and I have found that there's some good students there. All of the schools I've gone to have very good students, but then you have a lot of them that need help and that need support. So.
Two more questions before we let you go.
Okay.
Would you like to make any changes to the community, or would you have like an organization help you make the change in the community?
I would like to help with someone in the community organizing it, and I would be happy to help.
Okay. Last question.
Mm-hmm.
If, like, do you ever see Woodlawn being an example of how the community should need help and how it should be fixed all over Chicago?
I think Woodlawn could be fixed. Like, I think all of the communities can be fixed, but it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of support. It's going to take a lot of interest on everyone's part in order for this to happen.
Also, to your response, do you really think anybody would be interested in helping a community, including the violence, gang violence? Because so far I've seen on news, I have not seen a lot of group of people or adults trying to get involved and trying to help it.
I think that would help some, but I think everything has to start at the top. There have to be certain rules that are, if they're not obeyed, there will be consequences for these. And I think people are getting by with a lot of things, and that is having them continue to do these bad things instead of trying to do better, because no one challenges them to do better.
So, do you think people like in the politics or in the government will have some type of interest in help us, or will they just push it aside?
I hope they have some interest in helping because, after all, that's why they're in office. That should be why they're there. And I think they should be a big help because they are there.
So what is your advice to parents that feel like they don't care about what their child do and just letting them leave the house and let them go wherever they want to go?
I would say get yourself together and help your children because the children are our future and they need help. So you need to be involved with your children. It's very important that you're involved. Do activities with them. Let them join different groups. Have positive things for them to do. A lot of times if you have a lot of positive things for students or children to do, they don't get into the negative things.
Was there any organization back in the past where they actually had students involved or doing more academics or activities outside the school?
Well, I would imagine so. I can't think of anything directly right now, but like I said, I remember the boys' club when my son was growing up, and he has talked about that since he went, about how important that was for him having gone to the boys' club because they had so many activities. And if students or children are involved in these kind of activities, they tend not to get in a lot of trouble. So I think we need more of those kind of things for students to be involved in.
Another question. Today in schools, they have it where